And just like every other time, we are back. My name is Charbel Milan. Today we got,
Jacques, Pierre.
and this is a timeshare. So, Jock, just to get you up to speed real quick. This is a timeshare, one and only podcast that's out here trying to bring light to people like you, people who are kicking ass, making it happen for themselves, and just kind of taking an independent route. You know what I'm saying? They're not going the traditional route. They're making it happen for themselves. And before we get going, I just want you to take a moment and just let people know things they should know about you, who you are, and just everything they should know about you before we get going.
Okay. Yeah, so just if you guys want to know about me, I'm 21 years old. I'm based out of Metro Atlanta, Georgia. Born in Florida, raised here. So if you guys don't know so far, I'm actually a real estate investor out here. I consider myself an entrepreneur though. I run a flipping company that we just flip all over Metro Atlanta as well too. I started this about 2 years ago when I was 19. And so pretty much I'm just on here to share my story with you guys. And then and also I'm just gonna touch a little bit on some like mental aspects on just to be successful in business that's required as well too, and just really talk about like some connections between body and mind that really help people in life as well too.
Hey, man. First of all, I really appreciate you being here. Really means a lot to have you here to just share your story, help make someone else's story. But the first thing I want to ask you is there's so many aspects of real estate that it's easy to get lost in the word real estate, right?
Yeah.
So I know you've dabbled around in flips, wholesaling, and all, kind of everything under the sun, right? So how did you get started in real estate from where you are, where you started, and like where you are now? Like, what's your real estate journey been like?
Man, so it's been wild. Like I'll be honest, it's been some wild stuff. But like pretty much like starting out, dude, I was a broke, piss poor, broke 19-year-old. Pretty much just had. I mean, my parents don't come from money at all. My parents are immigrants, actually, and like, I mean, I've seen a lot of rough things as well too, just growing up. I mean, like, man, it was it was bad. Most people don't even notice, but like, even when I was in high school, I got my first phone was like when I was like 17, and that was because I could actually afford it because I was working as well too. My 16th birthday was a job application, so like when people see me, I just want to make sure that it's just reiterated that like I don't come from money. Like anything that you guys see me do right now, I had to get it out the mud, and so I
Self
always
made,
self made,
100%.
right, and
Respect it.
so and I always like to talk about it as well too, just because like especially being like a black young man as well, like 19 and like succeeding in real estate, like I just say that I had the cards stacked against me and I still made something, so I don't like to hear excuses from other people as well too, especially when you have the opportunity. But as far as my start in real estate, pretty much, man, I was back in like 2018. I was on YouTube, and I was trying to figure out what's my next come up, what's the next thing that can make me some money or can help change the direction of my life. I knew I was always like had that entrepreneurship spirit, and I always knew that my level of thinking was like more advanced than people my age, and I feel like there's something just more to life, right? And so, I was on YouTube. I used to watch this guy named Ricky Gutierrez, and it's about stocks because I thought my come up was gonna be in the stock game. Yeah, right, Ricky. Yeah, so he had brought this guy on there one time because Ricky was a big like he bought real estate properties himself, and so he's like, yeah, guys, I got this guy. He's gonna talk about how you can get into real estate with no money down, all this other stuff. And the guy, so he brought the guy on there. So he talked about like in very, 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 very simplistic terms what wholesaling is, which like now I think of it, he shouldn't have described it like that. It's horrible. But it gave me a gist. It just gave me a gist of it. I mean, this dude was talking about like, yeah, you could go to McDonald's, write up a contract on a napkin, and go buy somebody's house. Like, bro, I can't. No, I can't. Like, that's not what we do at all. So I would not tell somebody that's what wholesaling is. But
Damn.
yeah, it was crazy.
He
Yeah,
said, so he was just trying to paint the picture that anyone can do this.
yeah, exactly. That's what it was. He was painting a picture that anyone can do this. I'm like, but dude, don't tell people that they could go write like something, like a contract on a McDonald's napkin for like a $200,000 transaction. Don't do that. So it was like, so I'm like, so I was scrolling on Twitter one day, right, and I was trying to look, like I said, I was looking for my next come up. I seen this tweet, and I always have it implanted in my head. Somebody had posted this tweet where they posted up a check for $10,000, and they're like every 2 weeks things. And then my mentor, and he's like an older brother to me now, and he's very successful in what he's doing now, which is a lot of other businesses. But he replied, he's like, "Oh, you're kind of like me," and he posted up a check for $80,000. Yeah, I was like, "Oh," and then I seen it. It said something about real estate, and so people were asking what he does, and then I was like, he obviously. I replied like, it's obviously that he flips houses. He's like, "No, I don't. I actually wholesale," and then I was like, "Huh," and then because the thing is, because this guy was actually black as well too, so then it was like it wasn't like the YouTube celebrity who was pitching it. It was more of like, this is actually a normal guy that just encountered off of social media that looks like me.
And I hate that, right? Like, fuck, man, dude. Black people, Indian people, Arabic people, bro, they fuck it up, bro. I don't know why there's this picture, this like image of some white dude in a suit. Like, anyway, sorry to cut you off, but I hate that. That's societal norm. Like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's what. And so, like, when I had seen that, he's basically like, was just like me. I'm like, hey, I replied, I'm like, hey, is it? I was like, I heard of that before. I was like, is it okay if I DM you a couple questions? He was like, yeah, go ahead. I DM'd him. I was like, hey, like, you know, I've heard about wholesaling. We exchanged some information. He kind of got the gist of that. I kind of knew a little bit about it. So he was like, okay, so here's how it started. And then he actually called me. Well, I gave him my number. He gave me a call, and he's like, here's how it started. He's like, I started with driving for dollars. Driving for dollars is basically when you drive for vacant properties around your area. You basically do skip tracing, which skip tracing is that you're going to try to track down the homeowners so you could get in contact with them. And when you get in contact with them, you want to go ahead and kind of pitch what you're doing, which is like, hey, I'm trying to buy your house, and I'm looking for a house to buy in the area, and I want to buy yours because I see it needs a little bit of work, and I think, you know, I could give you some cash for it. So I started off with that, and I mean, like, the next day, like, I was just like, because I had nothing. I mean, I had absolutely nothing to lose.
So it's kind of like you were given just a drop of information and you were on fire because that's just where your ambition level was.
Yeah,
you just needed anything.
Yeah, I just needed it. It was just that glimpse of hope. This I was just right there, and it was just like, so it was just like, man, like and it's like, cause man, right before then I had dropped out of college, and I only went for 3 days, and I remember on my third day, because I couldn't afford it as well too. And don't get me wrong, like, I was very, very smart in school. I was very smart, like top 10% of my class. But it's something that my parents did that we couldn't get FAFSA, right? Even though my parents couldn't, like, they could not afford college at all. Like, combined, they were making like $35,000 a year combined, right? So, it was still like, I was at that rock bottom point. You know, that rock bottom where it's just like, I don't know what to do anymore, man, right? So it's like I had nothing to lose but everything to gain. So it was like that slight glimmer of hope. I see somebody like me who's doing this. I'm just going to go follow his path. Boom. It just literally, and I just got fueled and skyrocketed into it, right? So it took me about, and I mean, I devoted everything to it, like, because I was still working at Home Depot and, like, a server as well, too. So I was working overnight shifts, and I mean, even on my overnight shifts, man, I was listening to podcasts just about real estate. All about real estate. And so it took about a month and a half, but then I got my first deal.
How did that happen? It was driving for dollars?
Yeah, basically driving for dollars. I had a list of about like 50 homeowners, 50 properties, and I contacted all 50. And all of them said no, or they didn't pick up, right? But then one of them actually called me back 3 weeks later. She was like, hey, you had called me about my house 3 weeks ago. She's like, I wasn't ready to sell then, but one of the tenants has moved out. The tenants has moved out, and I just don't want to be a landlord anymore. And so,
I'm ready to sell.
Yeah, basically, yeah, I'm ready to sell. I was like, holy shit! Like, I didn't.
You weren't even like, you didn't even expect it because she called
Nah.
you back 3 weeks later.
Yeah, she called me back.
Jeez.
Yeah, woke me up right in my sleep. I was like, yeah. I was like, oh wow. I caught off guard. So went out to appointment. Did my thing because I had sold cars before then. I was working at a car dealership. And so I still had a sales background, which basically kind of helped as well too. Definitely helped, especially like being 19. It was gonna be my first deal. Like I had nobody like walking me through it. Like I had my mentor, and he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I think you're gonna be good at this price." So boom. And I mean, man, and this is like one of those things. It's like you got to get uncomfortable to get to where you want to be in life. Because even when I was making those calls, man, man, my hands were sweating. Like I thought they could hear my heartbeat like beat out my chest, dude. Like dude, it was just pounding.
Yeah,
like
because you're calling them about like $200,000 property. Like
Yeah, you know,
it's the
I'm
biggest investment someone makes in their life. Second
yeah.
to well, actually no, because it's a house and then a car for like the average person.
Yeah.
Damn. So keep going. My bad. See, keep going.
Nah, you're good. You're good. But nah, man, this is like,
I feel that. Is what I'm trying to say. Like the palm
yeah,
sweating. You're like, dude, I'm literally pitching someone to buy a 200. Like if they say yes, where does the money come from? But I'll let you get to that. I'll let you get to
yeah, no, exactly. Nah, it wasn't even that. It was just more fact that like just like reaching out to people and stuff like that as well too. Like I'm actually an introvert at heart, but that's we'll get into that as well too. But yeah, I went on an appointment, negotiated with her, built a good relationship with her. I got the house under contract for like $97,000. I found a buyer. We're still good friends. He had actually given me $1,000 for my birthday as well too. Like, so he's a solid dude. And he actually helped. He was actually helping me fill out the contract because I didn't really know what to do. He's like, yeah. He's like, because he already knew what. Like some buyers are not okay with you making money, but he's like, yeah. If you're trying to make three, he's like, all right. Like literally the assignment contract. He's like, he was literally helping me fill out the contract, like to sign it to him for $3,000. Because he was telling me, he's like, man, it was an older white guy, older like in his 50s as well too. But he's like, man, there's just something about your hustle and drive, dude. He's like, you just remind me of when I.
That's crazy. So he was helping you make a cap on him just
Yeah.
because he wanted to teach you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't mean to stop you right there, but I've always wondered this concept. And Dooley's kind of explained it. I had someone else kind of explain it, but I want to hear it from you, right? How does that happen? Like, how do you squeeze that margin in there? Because you're right. Like, if someone sees it and they're like, wait a minute, I could have got 10 grand extra for my house. Like, how do you get that in there? Like, do they just kind of agree because you're providing a service, or do they just not really know till things are being signed?
Yeah, so it's more so of the service and the convenience that you provide people as well too. So me personally, I always position myself, and I mean, if you see my business cards when I first started, my name, I wasn't real. It was real estate investor slash professional problem solver.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so and I was talking about it just on my Instagram earlier as well too, because I literally on my Instagram, you go to my Instagram, I just locked up a contract today while I was on the phone before I came here, a $40,000 deal, right? And so, I was talking about people pay a convenience for peace of mind, or they will sell a something at a discount for a peace of mind as well too, right? So think about Amazon, right? Amazon's the largest retailer in the world because of the fact that they offer convenience and speed of shipping. They came out with 2 day shipping as well too. Uber, right? They offer or Uber Eats, they offer convenience. People will pay that $15 cap on the meal, even though they have a car, and $15 will probably fill up their tank. Well, not fill up their tank, but it's probably gonna they will save more money if they actually go take their lazy ass and go drive, right? Cuz?
Dude, you can say whatever you want.
Okay, all right, cool. So
You
they'll
can
take.
cuss, you can fucking do whatever you want. This
All
is
right.
about you. Today is about you. This is episode you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. I
You
appreciate
can do
that.
whatever you want.
Yeah, so I mean, people pay for convenience. So the thing is that like with us, I'm providing peace of mind, right? You're tired of that property. You don't want to deal with it anymore. Here's take some cash, and now you have that burden off your shoulders. So now that's how we squeeze out the cap. Like even negotiating as well too. We bring up the fact that I'm like, hey, like you told me you were tired of this property. You told me it was causing this problem. It's causing this problem. Somebody's affecting your marriage as well too. Yeah, exactly. Like, do you really want to deal with all that? I mean, we have $100,000 lined up for you. I could get that money in your bank account the next 2 weeks. Give you that peace of mind. You can go move on. Yeah, exactly, right. And you're pitching it like that. Like, oh well, I mean, yeah, I mean, right. So it's about that peace of mind. So people will pay that convenience. So yeah, so I squeezed out a $3,000 cap on like whatever, and then even my buyer saw I was gonna make it as well too. But he didn't care because at the end of the day, the price that he bought it at and how much work it needed, he's gonna make his money as well too. I mean, me personally, I'm gonna operate the same way. I mean, I've literally taught people how to negotiate the deals down. Not tell them like, hey, I will buy this for you and I'll let you make 20K off of it. Like literally, like I will buy this from you, and I'm teaching them how to negotiate it to get it to that price. Like I know, yeah, right. So
It's crazy that you say that because the guy we had on before, he's talking about the opposite. About how like I was telling you about the guy that that did the music, the corporate gigs. He was talking about how like they didn't fuck him over because like they're not gonna teach you how to negotiate a contract that benefits you. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? But you're over here actually helping people benefit themselves. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I have an abundance mindset in this game as well too, and I really believe in relationships, especially business. I think the most successful thing in life, dude, is about like, dude. I hate it when people say that. Like, I hate when they say like, ah, I hate talking to people, or like, me personally, I don't like talking to people either. But at the same time, I force myself to do it because I know the amount of doors that have opened up for me because I opened up my damn mouth. Some people aren't even willing up to open up their mouth, and they're blocking their own blessings. They think it's cute to be like mean and antisocial. They think it's cute. Like they literally, it's like a trend. It's literally a trend in our generation. And I'm like, you don't even understand how many blessings you're blocking right now because you think it's cute to be antisocial. Like I don't like. I just don't get it.
I'm a whore, dude. I can't shut up. You know what I'm saying? So I do understand what you mean, though. It's like with the whole texting, like who can be the most dry and stuff like that.
Bro, oh my God. It's like who can reply in the longest amount of time possible. It's like it's like if you reply back fast, all of a sudden, oh my God, you're thirsty. Like
Yeah,
it's
right.
like, bro,
Like-
you're just trying to have a conversation. Like
bro, I'm trying to go grab food now.
like I'm not trying to like yo. That's why I tell people. That's why like yo, if I don't text, you gotta call me. I was like we're getting it. We're getting it in and out. Like man, I don't got time to wait 5 hours on know what you want to eat. Like I don't have time for that.
I know exactly what you mean by that. Wow. So then you squeeze out that $3,000. Your mentor helps you make it, which honestly, shout out to him. He was willing to throw $3,000 on top of that. But here's the thing, that concept brings up another question I was gonna get to, but I'll address it now. How do you find a buyer? Because I know you're limited, right? Like you're pitching them like, oh, we got a buyer tomorrow, but like, do you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's So back before all COVID and everything like that, we had the auctions. So public like for auctions for these guys will buy at auctions, right? And in the state of Georgia, you have to actually have your cash. Like you have to be able to close on a property the same day of the auction. Like so, basically, you have to have that money. So anybody that you see bidding there, they have cash on.
They're
them.
ready to wire transfer.
Yeah, they are ready, right? So I mean, I'm seeing him. So I was like, hey, I approached him, nervous as hell, 19-year-old. Fresh face, don't got no deal, whatever. These are vets in the game. I'm like, oh my God. But it's like, I was like, hey, like, you know, I come across properties like this all the time. Like, would it be okay if I add you to my list? Stuff like that. He already knew I don't got nothing, right? But he was like, it was more of the fact that I know he respected the fact that I took the initiative. Like, and he could tell I was young. And I always do that with people, man. Like, if I go to a networking event, even though I'm still young, like right now we're heavy hitters in the real estate space as far as Atlanta, right? So, like, a lot of people know us as far as how much volume we're doing. Even though if we actually posted how much volume we're doing, we would, like, people be like, oh, shit, like, holy shit,
Yeah,
right?
you told me earlier.
Yeah. So, it's just like, so when I walk into a room, people don't realize that. They don't realize that. They just think I'm and I mean, because when I go to these networking events, they're predominantly, the real estate space is predominantly, like, white and stuff like that. So they think, oh, this is just another black kid, whatever. Especially I walk in with earrings and stuff. They don't realize what I'm doing, though. They don't realize I'm running circles around them, which
right.
is I don't care.
Pockets full, right?
Yeah, I don't really care.
At the end of the day, right? Who
Yeah.
cares?
But then I see the other young guys who will be in their 20s, just starting out fresh face. I'm like, you know what? Come to my office, man. Now I mean, like, I'll just sit down. I'll do free one-on-ones just because of the fact that I like it when I see people take that initiative as well too. Like I love it when I see young people take that initiative, just like I was, and I know that somebody took a chance on me to give me game. So who am I to not pass it along as well too?
Well, that's a blessing, man. You're keeping it going. So you closed this deal, and then that pretty much illustrates to you that, hey, I had
This
an
is real.
idea and it worked.
This is real. That's all it was. It wasn't even an amount. I could have made $2 or $500, but it was the fact that it showed that this is actually real. And from there, man, I just went like all in. And you know what's crazy? And I like the power of manifestation as well too. And people don't realize this. So when I was still working at Home Depot, even while I was wholesaling like 2 years ago, I was still working at Home Depot, still being a server as well too, right? It was funny because I was going to my coworkers at Charlie's. I'm like, hey, like, you heard about this thing wholesaling? They're like, what? You can make this money? They're like, I mean, I told my manager I was gonna do it. He laughed in my face. Told my coworkers I was gonna do it. They laughed in my face.
Who's laughing now?
Oh man! Oh my God! I ran to my manager. Oh my God! That was a funny conversation. But
The day you quit?
Nah, it was sometime after that. It was way sometime after that, and I was like, oh yeah. He was like, Like, what you been up to? I was like, man, I'm doing the thing that you literally told me that I couldn't do. I literally replied word for word. That's literally what I said. I was like, I'm doing, yeah. But
That's what people like that need to hear, man. Because look, you can find security at a day job. Don't get me wrong.
yeah,
Being an entrepreneur is like a heart attack 24/7. But
yeah, it is. It's like it's not even like the freedom. I mean, yeah, the freedom is good because you can make your own schedule and stuff like that. But I mean, I mean, entrepreneurs. I don't know who. If you think you're gonna work less hours for yourself, don't fool yourself. You're gonna work twice. People work 40 hour works. We work 80, but
For free.
Yeah, exactly, for free at the beginning, right? But it was just that like going back to the power of manifestation as well too, and people don't realize that it's like um like the reason why I bring it up is just because, like I was saying, when I was working 2 years ago at Home Depot and O'Charlie's as well too, I would be talking to my mentor all the time, and so me and him would literally be at night just talk. Like I mean, it's 12 o'clock at night, dude. But I worked overnight at Home Depot, right? And so I'm like, man, I was like, here's this company I want to start, like, and I mean, like, I don't know when, dude, but he's like, I want to build a company where we're gonna have an in-house contracting team. We're gonna be doing flips. We're gonna be doing this. We're gonna be doing that. Like, and I mean, 2 years ago, still 19, still working at Home Depot, still working at Charlie's, right? And it's crazy. I was telling him that this is what I want to do. And I was like, I'm gonna do it. Like he's like, I was like, I'm gonna, and like the people don't realize this as well too. The resolve that you need to have to commit to a certain task or project as well too. So I told myself that either I was gonna be successful or I was gonna die trying in the process. Like, that's pretty much it, right? Yeah. Like you have to have that level of resolve because a lot of people they have the correct opportunity presented in front of them, but they don't have the right mindset to pursue it. It's just like, and I get that mindset because it's a phrase called burn the boats. You've heard of it? So,
burning boats?
Yeah, burn the boats.
Huh. So like you got a boat, but see, here's the thing. What I like to talk about on the show is the concept that people think there's gonna be an opportunity. Like, oh, I'll go, I'll do 4 years at this university, and there's gonna be this job that's gonna offer me this amount that I read on the internet, which caused me to pursue the major. And they think there's gonna be this opportunity, but there is no opportunity ever. You create the opportunity by just being a badass and just having these habits that you apply in every situation 24/7, like you did, right?
Yeah.
So what is burning the boat? Is that like what?
So
what approach is that?
So in 1519, Hernan Cortez, the guy who conquered the Aztecs, right? Right. So when he landed in Mexico, he had all of his soldiers when they were first going to start their invasion, right? He had all the soldiers gathered the boats and he burned all of them. And he literally told his soldiers that we came here for a task. You guys are gonna accomplish that task or you're gonna die. But just knowing those are your only two options. So guess what they did? They accomplished the task, right? Yeah, he had all of his soldiers burn all of the boats. There's literally you came here for this task. You're gonna accomplish it or you're going to die. Like that's your only options. Like
so powerful, dude.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And so you can imagine his soldiers. They fought with a lot of right, but they conquered the Aztecs as well too.
Aztecs were some crazy.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like it's war and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like go do that. But I'm saying
like the concept.
It's the concept, that principle of the fact that being able to commit 110% to the task, because especially no matter if it gets hard or not, that's the thing. Because a lot of people will have a daunting task face in front of them, but if they have that way to escape, they have that way to back out, they're gonna take it.
Oh, I see what you mean. If you know the boat's there, you won't fight as hard. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you mean now.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying, like, so you gotta tell yourself mentally, like, hey, like, either I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna die in the process. Like, but at the end of the day, there's no other options. Like, I'm not half-assing it. I'm not quitting. I'm not doing nothing. Like, the only time I quit is when I die.
So, like the concept of, like, running versus a treadmill. Like, you can always get off the treadmill, but when you run, you got to get your ass back.
Yeah, 100%. Dude, 100%.
I like
you
that.
hit it right on the head.
I like that.
You hit it right on the head,
Appreciate
dude.
that. I'm going to take that one with me. I like that. Holy shit, burn the boat. See?
Burn the boats,
man. I love these, man. You take something with you every day. Okay, so keep going. So, you're working at Home Depot. You're working at O'Charlie's. You and your mentor are talking about starting this company. And then, boom, what happens next?
So pretty much, it took some while as well too, but then pretty much back in like 2019, this opportunity came across, and I had the opportunity to do my first flip because I made a lot of money wholesaling, and so I bought this house. And this is gonna be it's confusing, but it's kind of cool as well too. But pretty much, I bought this house for like 2 grand, essentially. And we flipped it, and we ended up selling it for 174. But there's a difference, right? So I bought this house called subject to. So yeah, not everybody realizes, but you could buy. There's more than one way to buy a house.
What's subject to?
So buying a house subject to basically is mean that you're buying the house subject to existing financing or liens, right? So let's just say when you ever go buy a house or whatever, there's two deeds. There's a security deed and there's a warranty deed, right? So if you come to me, I'm the bank, right? I'll loan you $310,000 for the purchase of your house. Now you own the house on your warranty deed, but my money is secured against the security deed. So if you don't pay me back, I can take back the house because basically I essentially own the house.
So you
right?
never own it till you pay it off.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of like collateral.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Okay.
security. Yeah, right. So what happens is on subject to what we do is that we leave the security deed in place. So if there's a bank financing, we leave it in place. We go ahead and make the mortgage payments on behalf of the homeowner, and they transfer title to us.
Wow. So the mortgage was 2 grand.
Yeah, but like not the mortgage was 2 grand. The mortgage was 114 grand, but I gave her 2 grand to transfer the title over to me.
Right.
And I just took over her payments.
That's awesome. Holy shit.
And then
Okay.
I just brought the money in to fix up the house, and then we sold it for 174.
And they made your cap.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, dude. That is crazy.
And so I did that when I was 19. And so that's why I'm like, man, I was like, and I like that's why I mean people were like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like, how are you doing this at 19? Like, what is going on? But I'm like, man, this is like at the end of the day, I still don't feel like where I'm even close to where I need to be as well too. So I know one of the things about me is that I move fast in life, and I've kind of learned that as well too. But then so that was one of the things, and then I got back into wholesaling. That fix and flip, it taught me a lot, man. I think I needed to go through that though, and so and just touching on that mental aspect as well too, because I got into a burn the boat situation on that one. I really did. I got into a burn the boat situation.
Because you had to.
Yeah, because I had to. Because what happened is that I invested all of my money into that house. Like, bro, I mean, like my bank account was in the negatives, and so the thing was, I wasn't wholesaling. I had already quit my jobs. So the only choice I had, and I mean, I never did construction day in my life, and I was doing all the work myself on that house too, bro.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
What?
Yeah, dude.
So what exactly did you have to do?
Man, okay, so
What? Whoa.
yo, like, listen.
That's crazy.
So this house was like filled up to the. This was they called it the trap house, and people knew about it. They called it the trap house. If you're from where I'm from, they call it the trap house. Not well because they was trapping there, but still, but
Good
but then
filter
also as well
topping.
too, it was like a party. It was a party house. No, because what happened was the girl's mom had left her the house when she was 16 in high school. She left a 16-year-old by herself. She was still paying the bills.
That tells the whole
Do you
story.
know? Yeah, that tells a whole story. You got a free house in high school? No? Oh, bro. What do you think's gonna happen? What do you think's gonna happen? Yeah, they trashed that place. They trashed it, dude.
So you had to learn how to do like drywall. You had to learn how to do drywall. You did like flooring.
So the drywall I subbed out. The flooring I did.
Okay.
Carpet I subbed out. Cabinets I did. And then we had to do the junk out too. So we filled out junk, basically throwing everything out of the house.
Two
Bro,
dumpsters? The
we-
roller dumpsters?
we filled up 4 dumpsters.
Damn, I know those are like, that was probably like what, 2 grand just on dumpsters?
It was like $350 each dumpster.
Yeah.
Man, it was expensive. Golly, good
Yeah,
God.
dude. Wow.
Yeah, I was not catching a break. But man, we threw out I had to throw out everything. I did the painting as well too. We did the light fixtures.
I bet you got no sleep just thinking about it.
Dude, I was working 100 hours. Like, you never understand. Like, people, and the thing is, the people who follow me on Instagram from last year, they know why I'm in the spot I am right now because they know how hard I grind. Because if like I mean I tagged on my Instagram, but people knew I was literally sleeping in my car in the garage. First thing I would do when I wake up, go up, start working, literally come back down, go back to sleep. Like bro, like I was like not my parents didn't even see me for a week, dude. Like they wanted to see me for weeks on end. I was working 100 hours a week on that.
So then when you turned it, how much did you make?
So when I turned it, I made about 10 G's.
After you paid off, the lady, and then after you
Yeah.
recuperated your personal investment.
Yeah.
It's not bad though.
But see, the thing was, it was the time factor. I was putting in 100 hours a week. It took me 3 months to complete that project.
Damn.
So if you really divide it by that much time, so now you're getting paid like I was getting paid $5-6 an hour essentially, especially working. I was literally working 100 hours. a
So
week.
do you think that was mainly a lesson?
It was 100% less.
Because now, because then it's like now when you're flipping houses and you're subcontracting it, you know how it needs to get done because you
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, my business partner handles a lot of the back end flips, and I learned a lot from him as well too. But it's not even that. It was more of a lesson of the mental fortitude on being able to like go through hard things in life as well too. Because don't get me wrong, it was not fun working on the house. It wasn't like I enjoyed it. Like it was literally 100 hours. Dude, I was miserable. I was literally miserable, dude. Right?
But you had a goal, man, and I respect you for completing that goal.
Yeah, dude. I had I had no choice because my bank account was in negatives. My money's tied up in that house. I gotta if I was gonna sell, I was gonna take a loss, and I can't afford to take a loss, right? So life was like it's literally no option. Do finish this or die finish this. That's all yours.
You know what the crazy part is too? I'm thinking about all the hours you spent locking up those wholesale properties, right? To then take all that money in and put it in that. So not only could you not afford to take the loss, but that would have been all the work that you had done up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
So you were, damn, dude, that is crazy. Honestly, bro, I look at you different now. I respect that heavy because I like the fact that you're like, hey, I didn't even make that much money.
Yeah.
But you did it. You persevered, man. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Like,
Yeah, no, I had to persevere. I mean, the
Holy
check. Don't get me
shit.
wrong. The check that I'd seen it was $47,000. I've never seen a check for $47,000 a day in my life, right? I showed my parents. I'm like, hey, and then my parents are like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, they're like,
fuck, not for me.
yeah, but it was just more of like that realization. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was
So
situated.
you spent
after
37?
Yeah, pretty essentially because I still had some of my boys helping me out as well too. I had two
Okay,
of my
that's good.
boys
Yeah.
helping me out. It was nice, but that did make it fun though. When me and my boys was like we was just grinding it out though. I love them. for
They're like,
that.
yeah, we're crazy.
Yeah, but
So then you move on from that.
yeah, move on to that. I get back into wholesaling, and then I partnered up with another wholesaler back in like December. January comes around, we partner up with the buyer. And next thing you know, we have an operation, basically what I talked about 2 years ago about having a company with in-house crews. Now we actually have a company 2 years later with in-house crews. It's being built to the vision that I literally was pitching 2 years ago when I had nothing. And I was like, man, I'm going to make it happen.
And that's what you were telling me about downstairs over the mark.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys have in-house contractors, which allows you to pretty much shit these properties out.
Yeah.
So you said you guys are working on 16 right now?
Yeah, we're working on 16 right now.
Ah, dude, that's crazy. So you guys just sold one like what, a week ago? I saw you on Instagram.
Man, we're doing deals every single week, dude. So we bought one yesterday. We're selling 2 this week. We bought another. Did we sell or buy one last week? I can't remember.
Yeah, right.
It's like
I gotta check the spreadsheet.
Yeah, it's literally like it's one or the other. We're either buying or we're selling. We're buying or we're selling. We're buying or we're selling, man. Like, and then I just got a contract back today as well too. Yeah, man, we're just like all it is it's just straight. And that's the thing I like my business partners because they're straight hustlers, dude. So it's like we all just hustle. That's the thing about, especially with business partnerships. You got to another tip as well too for you guys out there. Be careful with your business partners. You have to do a lot of dating before you actually like put yourself on that LLC with them, because you need to understand that whenever you put yourself on the LLC with them, you're essentially marrying that person, right? So if that LLC gets a lawsuit, you go down with them. If they get a lawsuit, you get a lawsuit with them. If that LLC has debt, you have that debt with them.
They don't
If
pay the tax. You got tax.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, you gotta trust whoever you're partnering up
Sheesh.
with. That
Hey,
like,
I'm alone on all my LLCs, but I've heard about those horror stories.
yeah,
bro, where
exactly. Like
the
if
wa-
you can't trust that person and you feel like, okay, this is gonna be like a liability, they're gonna go out and go do some shady, effed up stuff, and we're probably gonna get a lawsuit. You get the lawsuit too. Like just understand that.
That's crazy. I mean, I feel like what happens a lot of times is someone just tax evades and then it comes back on everybody.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you gotta have like we have a really good bookkeeper and accountant. She's top. Yeah,
That's awesome, dude.
she's top notch as well too.
So let me ask you a question, right? I feel like for somebody listening to this right now, there's two groups of people. There's a group of people that no matter what you show them, they're gonna be like, that's too hard. Fuck that. I could never do it. And then there's the group of people who are interested. They're like, what? That could be me. I see myself in Jay. I see myself being that guy. But they don't realize that okay, it's nice to sit down here 2 years later and talk about it on the pod and share it. But bro, I bet you had some anxiety, some depression, because I know that, bro, part of being an entrepreneur, part of being successful in general is that mental game. And we were talking about that downstairs. So for someone who's listening right now, man, what is something you would tell them about the mentality behind being a successful entrepreneur, bro?
Man,
Because
I would say the biggest thing is understanding that you're always gonna feel motivated at the beginning, but that motivation is gonna disappear, right? So one thing I look at motivation for, man, and this is why like I did that, like I took a break off of social media and I really like went on that mental journey and I learned a lot about like the human mind and stuff. But motivation is a state of being. It's not a mental thing, it's a state of being, right? So when you got it, and there's a difference between a state of being and this emotion and stuff like that, right? A state of being affects your body and your mind. Emotion just affects more of like it's either just gonna affect your body or it's just gonna affect your mind, right?
wow,
So
can you say that again? So a state of being.
it's gonna affect both your body and mind.
Okay, but an emotion will affect either or.
Yeah, either or. Wow. Mainly just your mind as well too, right? So if a state of being, like if you're depressed, depression is a state of being, right? If you feel it in your brain, you feel it in your brain, right? But then your body doesn't want to move, or you don't want to get out of bed. Your body does not want to react, right? Your body does feel sluggish. That's the state of being. Motivation, when you feel motivated, your body's like, okay, it's hitting, right? But you need to understand that motivation, routine, and discipline. Those are three things that you need to understand, learn about as well too. So you use that motivation to start a routine, right? Once the routine turns to habit and becomes discipline, whenever that motivation disappears, because you got to understand with entrepreneurship, you got to do a lot of tasks when you don't feel like doing it. That's discipline right there. That discipline takes over, and you're going to start to do the tasks that you need to do even when you don't feel like it. As an entrepreneur, man, and then also as well too, you guys need to understand that you're gonna take L's. And you need to understand that you're gonna take a lot of L's. It's too many L's, right? But the thing is, you gotta look at every loss you better start looking at your losses as lessons. Not as losses or failures. You look at them as lessons that you gain something from them as well too. Because man, I remember, and I think my mind's been molded to the point of when now, dude, and it's like, I think it's just because, especially with the house as well, too, and I think I had to go through some things in life last year to prepare me for the position I'm in now, because now I can handle losses. When we take a loss, dude, it's more like, oh, man, I remember last time I took a huge loss, man. I was sitting in bed depressed, and I looked at the watch, and I was like, okay, you have an hour. You have an hour to feel this. After that, you're going back to work. Straight up. And my body reacted to that. After that, I set a timer. After I set that timer, I got straight up out of bed and went back to it. I mean, I took a huge loss, man. Took an L, right? But it's, so I invested some money, bro, and I was like, man, I about lost like close to like 10 bands.
What?
We're not gonna talk about it, but
that's how bad. That's how much of an L.
Yeah,
it was such a lesson. It's a closed door lesson.
Yeah, it was a closed door lesson.
God, I hate those though. You learn the most from them, but damn, do they hurt? Like they're easy to talk about now, but in the moment, you feel like it's over.
Yeah, you feel like it's over, and I understand that. Like I always call it tuition to the game. It's either tuition to the game of life or it's tuition to the game of whatever industry you're in as well too. Because one of the things, especially with real estate, a lot of people we skip the school route, but let's put it in perspective, right? If you want to go be a doctor who makes six figures, you're gonna have to pay a lot of money in medical school, right? And college, you're gonna pay like around six figures around there, right? So it's just like, how are you gonna want to make six figures in real estate and not pay your tuition? You're gonna pay your tuition somehow.
I like that.
That's how I always look. I charge it to the game. It's tuition to the game. We just That's all it is. Jeff Bezos talks about it. Jeff Bezos talked about it. He was like, listen, he's like, Amazon, we've literally lost, and he said it, he's like, I've lost billions with a B on bad investments. Like it comes with the game. Like it's not like we lost millions, we lost billions of dollars on bad investments. It comes with the game, right? But just understanding, just gotta have that mindset that like you're gonna pay tuition to the game and or whatever it is that you just truck through. So that's one of the things as far as like with that mindset required to be successful, man. Just like have a strong ability to take losses and to truck through no matter what.
So here's the thing, right? So when it comes to real estate, it's kind of like you take a different kind of L because you're talking about tens of thousands, in most cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're about to take a 20K loss on one of these properties.
You were telling me about that.
Yeah, but it's just like, and it's like, it's like we've gotten so conditioned, like all of us as entrepreneurs that like, it's like, ugh, like, fuck, but it's like, it is what it is. Like, it is like, it's like, man, I love the fact that my mind's been conditioned to it. Cause now, like, even rejection, like anything like that, if you get curved, some people get curved and they're like, oh man, it's the end of the world. But I mean, this is like, it is what it is. I've been through worse. Like literally, I just tell myself, like, I've been through worse. It doesn't really matter. So I was like, we take a 20K loss and we bite the bullet.
Okay, so for a person who wants to get involved in real estate, would you say at this point in time, at the about Q4 2020, we're closing it out, right? Would you say wholesaling still a thing that someone should try to pursue?
Yeah, I mean, wholesaling is always going forever and always going to be a thing.
But what about the buyers? Like that's my thing, right? And I always talk to Dooley about this, and I mean he does a good job of explaining it, but he's at a level now where like he's got this shit automated. But like, how do you find a buyer? Like, all right, bet I come to you, you agree on a price, we agree on it. But like, how do I go get that buyer within those 7 days?
Yeah, so with the buyers as well too, there's a lot of softwares that you can use now that can tell you on who's recently bought a property within the past 2 years in your area, specifically in cash. And so you use those softwares. Also, you got Facebook groups, Facebook real estate investors groups.
So you got to be plugged in, so that like, not only do you got to be plugged in to figure out the leads, but you also got to be plugged in to get a buyer.
Yeah.
Because I remember, I think it was Dooley. He was talking about how they locked up a property, they didn't have a buyer, and like that's why it didn't work out. I think if it wasn't him, I don't want to say it was him, but I think I had another guy on here a while back. He owns a water bottle company, right? He's kicking ass too, but he started off doing the wholesale real estate, and he had I'm pretty sure it was him. It was one of the two where they locked up a property, perfect price, they're gonna cap, but then it's like the buyer fell through, so then it's like you're in contract. You know what I mean? So
It happens a lot.
yeah,
It
like
literally
what
happens.
happens there? Like what happens if you can't find a buyer but you're in contract?
So you could terminate the contract. It's just like me personally, we don't like to renege on our word. Like that's why like we'll close on a property even if we feel kind of nervous about it. We don't like to renege. But yeah, you can terminate the contract, especially if you don't have the ability to But you just have to make sure your contract's worded for you to be able to terminate it. Now, because if your contract's not worded, if the seller, whoever it has the money and the time is petty enough, they could take you to court. And even with that as well too, because basically the judge is gonna be like, okay, well, why would you contract the property and say you're gonna pay in cash if you knew you never even had the funds to close in cash?
Because they don't understand the wholesale concept.
Yeah, they won't. So it's just like, okay, you're gonna be found in whatever. Like I don't know what kind of result, but I know it's gonna be ruled against you, and so they'll decide on what punishment is done, right? But if your contract is worded now, then you have the ability and means as well to terminate it as well.
So for someone who's just getting involved, you would say to make sure in their contract they have
It has the ability to terminate.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
make sure it's
so
worded.
that's number one. And number two, what would you say for somebody who's getting involved, wants to do wholesale, and they don't want to do the drive for dollars. Like they want to get to the deep shit. You said the skip tracing.
Yeah, skip tracing, basically searching homeowners. There's a couple of providers you can use, like batch skip tracing. You can use like, well, we only use batch. We don't really recommend anybody else. Um, Pulling lists, we do something where we don't like on the scale we do. We don't even like we're building out a software right now that's going to be able to help us build out a driving for dollars team. But for most part, my sales guys, they're in the office calling, and we pull our list. We pull lists on a monthly basis of like people who've owned a house for a very long time, and they're probably gonna have a lot of equity. And we pull it. We can tell if they don't live at a property or not. So we pull that list of the ones that don't live at the property, because sometimes you're gonna be able to tell, like, okay, they have more of a reason to potentially sell than somebody who lives at the house. It's not saying that these are guaranteed people who are gonna sell, but they're saying that, hey, they might actually have more of a reason to sell. And so we reach out to them. I have a team of callers overseas. They call they call Monday through Saturday, about 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. These girls, they literally just call all day, every day, calling these homeowners saying, "Hey, would you like to receive an offer?" They say yes. They come back into our system. Then when my sales guys call them, which is what you'll see. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see me locking up a deal today. That was actually one from my callers that came in as well too.
So you guys use the VAs to lead them into your salespeople to eventually lead to you.
Yeah, or my salespeople lock it up, or I will lock it up. Sometimes they have a hard time. If they have a hard time, I basically like I'm that guy that hey, let me go pass it to my manager. And I mean, I'm a really good closer. Don't get me wrong. I'm very very good at closing. Like I will admit to that.
What would you say are some of the things that makes a person a good closer?
Ooh, I love talking about sales. But one of the biggest things as well too is being able to very connect with people very very quickly. So being able to connect with people, being able to handle objections, not understand and understanding that when somebody says no, that doesn't mean they actually mean no. They're saying no because there's something else. There's another reason that's holding them back. Your job is to place it as a closer is a professional problem solver. You identify the problem that somebody has, or you magnify the problem that they have, right? And then you sell them the solution. That's all you do. You magnify the problem that they have, or you make them realize that, hey, this is a problem, even though they may not have never realized it before it was a problem. You paint a perspective that, hey, like this is actually a problem, and they're like, oh wow, this actually is a problem. I think I need to fix it. Well, hey, I got the solution right here. $10, right? So, right. So it's like that's sales. That's sales. Period. You're identifying a problem and you're selling the solution.
It's like psychological warfare.
100%.
Wow.
I mean, any
But
business.
on a bigger scale, for real estate.
But at the end of the day, any business is you identifying a problem in a market space and you selling the solution. Amazon realized that in the problem in market spaces that delivery times were slower. They sold the solution of 2-day shipping. I mean, if you're talking about Walmart, like Walmart, as far as they realized that people needed more places to find groceries at, and then also maybe buy toys, and maybe buy pharmacy products as well too. So how about we just put it all in one? Now we have all this traffic that comes in. Business itself, your podcast, like you may not realize it, but then you realize that even what we talked about, I was like, enough people don't bring me on platforms to talk, right? Well, you solved the problem of that being able to get my voice out there, because I feel like this is something that people need to hear. There's a problem that people are not hearing this message that probably needs to be put out there. So you basically create a platform, so you solve that problem.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I appreciate you putting it.
Yeah, exactly. That's business. That if you want to successful, and that's why I hate when if you want to know if your idea is successful or not, if you have a business idea, just figure out if do people actually need, is there actually a market for this? Figure out if there's a market for this, figure out if there's actually if people have a problem with whatever you're trying to do, and then sell them a solution. That's pretty much it.
Damn. Okay, so then that's our 3-step for somebody, right?
Yeah, I mean, and then also as well too, doing a lot of training as far as like with sales. I do Sandler Rules. He's pretty good. There's a book, The Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort. And that's really good. I mean, especially.
God, dude, watching the podcast he did with Grant Cardone.
Weren't they like just talking shit to each other?
Dude, Grant was tearing him apart. He was like, yeah, but everyone in your world was on drugs, scamming people. And he was just like, But you know what's crazy is Grant has like 5 lawsuits against him right now for misleading investors. Fuck all of them, dude. All those. See, here's the thing. Those like big name dudes, it's easy to get lost in that picture because like I don't know, like here's the thing. I'm not gonna talk shit because they're way more successful than me, right? But it's the concept that I value transparency. I'd rather grow slower but be transparent because it's like if you have a solid foundation, you can't get knocked down. But a
Yeah,
lot of these
exactly.
people, they grow so fast out of nowhere.
Their foundation is not solid as well too.
And something like COVID happens, and now you got
You're getting knocked upside down.
yeah. Everyone's like, "Hey, I need my money back." It's like, well, don't really have your money,
Because I blew on a jet. You know?
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
exactly.
I never thought you. Because I thought you were gonna be okay with just taking your 12% every year. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when I'm glad you brought that up because it's one of the things that, as far as being an entrepreneur, you have to think of like a grandmaster entrepreneur. I was watching a TED Talk. Well, not a TED Talk, but like a keynote about it, right? So the average chess grandmaster, right? They're able to think 25 to 30 moves ahead. So that literally means that they know that, and like if you guys don't get that, like if I make this move, this person's probably gonna react to like this. That means I have to react like this. That means they're gonna react like this. That means I have to react like this. That means they're gonna react like this. And they're thinking that 25 moves ahead when they make that one move. On 25 moves, right? It's crazy just to even think. And you're predicting off of their personality or who they are and stuff like that as well, too, right? So being a grandmaster entrepreneur, you need to have the mindset. And I always do this. Like it's always good to be optimistic in the business world, but you have to be a pessimist as well too. Okay, you need to understand that. Okay, well this is a good idea, but what happens if it doesn't? What happens if shit hits the fan? What do I do? Okay, okay, that's what I do. So you need to have your backup plans in case as well too. So whenever somebody brings me up, like especially my friends, he does what I do, and he'll come to me, and he's like, Jacques, I know you're the pessimist, and cause, and there's a couple of times I've had to check him on he was gonna do some risky moves, and I'm like, man, I was like, no, I was like, you should not be doing that. What if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? It's not me trying to talk down the idea. It's me saying that I'm gonna present to you a worst case scenario. If you don't have an answer on what will happen if that happens, then you shouldn't be doing it. That's my opinion. So if I make a move and I don't have anything to counteract that move, then I don't want to put myself in the position of making that move. Not only unless I feel 100% confident in that my ability to take that risk, then I'll take it as well too. But you gotta think like a grandmaster entrepreneur at times. Think 20 moves ahead. Really.
That's crazy, dude.
So Grant Cardone, he should have realized that he was over leveraged.
As
Fuck yeah, right. So he didn't realize, okay, what happens if the economy market hits and my investors call for the money back? I should keep that capital on hand and not like you were saying, not scale so fast. I keep that capital on hand just in case. Let that cash flow build up from all these rentals, build up a war chest just in case things hit the fan. Now, boom, right? Even our plan right now, like I was telling you, like what happens if the market corrects as well too. I said right now the real estate market is completely hot. We're taking advantage of it. We're building up a war chest because I already know that our market's gonna correct. I'm not banking on it not gonna correct. I'm banking on it is going to correct because now I know we take advantage of it now. So when everything shit hits the fan, we're good.
and you can buy a property.
Yeah, exactly. We're not gonna be like those other investors who blew their money because they thought it was gonna be like this the entire year around. We already know that's not the reality of this.
Yeah, and that goes in that other conversation we were having about people touching money for the first time. They go blow it on all this sections and Lambos and all this bull crap.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, it's so easy to get lost in the facade of that whole lifestyle. And don't get me wrong, I mean, if you got it like that, I guess, but it's just like, damn, dude, like to spend $400,000 on a car, like, bro, that is, dude, that's like a triplex, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you look at it from an investor standpoint, like, it's almost hard to do that. Like, you got to be making like at least $20 million or like, bro, to spend that much money on a car, like,
Yeah. I mean, my boy Dawson, he has a good wave. Dawson, he owns a R8. He's our age as well too. But Dawson, I mean, I know before he bought his R8, he bought so many investment properties that can cover his R8 payment like 5 times over.
there you go.
Right? So like if you want to go live that lavish lifestyle and stuff like that, put it in investments that pay you monthly. And when you get to a point of your investments can cover the cost of that thing monthly as well too, boom, now you can leverage that. So now you're not in that. You can still have that lifestyle. You just gotta. It's all about staying down for the come up. Like have that. A lot of people want that instant gratification. Hey, I worked this hard. Now I want to show everybody. I want to show everybody that this is the result of my hard work, right? Which is gonna be my Lamborghini and stuff like that as well too. But sometimes. I mean, I still whip a Kia right now, because I don't feel like I'm in those. Like I could afford a sports car, but it's like,
But why?
yeah, why?
I'd be yeah, like bro, you gotta like that's something you want to enjoy. You don't want to be stressing about your payments because
Yeah,
you want to
exactly.
look cool pulling up to the club. Like
Yeah, no, it's like, dude, that's what it's like. It's me personally. Like, I don't even care about. I mean, I don't care about impressing people. Me personally, I really don't care about impressing people. And I think life is so much better when you don't care about impressing people. Like, it's so much more peaceful. Like, it's so much more. Like, when you don't give a fuck, dude, life is just so much more better. Like, I think it's just so much more better, man. In my opinion.
No, I completely agree. Hey man, believe it or not, we're almost at an hour. So, is there like a message that you want to leave people that's specific to you? I like to do this at the end of every podcast just because it's like, hey, it doesn't have to be about real estate, doesn't have to be about wholesaling. Just your message to the people, man, for someone who's out there who's been listening to this, who's got a good understanding of who you are as a person. You know what I mean? What is something you want to say to them? Because at the end of the day, believe it or not, it resonates, bro. It resonates. Your story makes someone else's story. It's helped make mine. Like it has a bigger effect than you think. That's what I've been starting to realize.
Oh, I appreciate that. So I would say the biggest thing to remember in this life, man, is that you don't get what you want in this life. You get what you set as your standard. And so I've been preaching this as well too. So, but the thing is, one little thing they do in the military, man, especially when you show up to boot camp, and I may be wrong, but I think I do have a good idea of it, right? So they teach you how to make your bed, right? And they have this way of making your bed like it's perfect. It's completely perfect, right? When your drill instructors, they do inspections, they come in, your bed's not made perfect, they make you do it all over again, right? Because of the fact they don't realize that, like people don't realize the psychology behind it as well too, about making your bed or anything like that nature. But when you make your bed perfect as well too, it's you setting your standard on what you want out of life. You want a perfect. You do how you do your small tasks is how you handle large tasks. So if you do a small task perfect, when it comes to a big task, you're gonna do it perfect as well too. So like especially with the standard that you set for your life, if your standard is that I'm gonna have an excellent life, so every task that I do is gonna be excellent, I'm gonna be an excellent person, and I'm gonna surround myself with excellent people who are up to par, and gonna have excellent relationships, then I'm gonna have an excellent life. Would you not? Would you agree with that, right? If your standard is that I half-ass everything, I half-ass my relationships, I half-ass my projects, I half-ass showing up on time, what you're gonna have? You're probably gonna have a half-ass life. It's literally what you set as your standard you get out of life. And dude, I had that realization last month. So ever since then, my standard has been my standard is excellence. My standard is excellence. My standard is excellence. So I mean, when it comes to the small tasks, dude, I can't leave my house even if like I'm gonna be a little late. I can't leave my house without my bed being made perfectly. Like I really can't. Like just because it's that standard that you set for yourself. How you handle small things is how you can handle big things.
Love it, man.
So yeah, I just want to leave that message as well too. If you guys want to reach out to me or follow me on the gram, I post a lot on the gram mainly. It's Jacques JACQUES _.PIERRE. You can find me on Twitter as well too. JRealBusiness, so like BIDNESS. So yeah, those are good ways to follow me and connect with me.
Hey man, I just want to go ahead and say I really appreciate you. I know you're a busy guy. I really appreciate you taking the time.
No problem, man.
To do this, man. It really means a lot. I know you've helped us, and I hope maybe being able to lay it out on the table has helped you realize how much of a story you have, because you got a story, man. And not only are we inspired, but got much respect, dude. Especially after that whole house flipping thing. God damn, dude.
Yeah.
But hey, man, just like every other time, my name's Charbel Milan. Today we got
Jacques Pierre.
And this has been a time shared. Thank you so much.